See if I can find it too. I can share. There we go. Hey everybody, this is Felicia Tennyson's talk show, and I have my son with me, and we're going to talk about some very interesting things.
That's how you're gonna start it off.
Yeah, very interesting things. Me and my son is always having good conversations about just different things of life, and I enjoy it when we talk. So I decided that I think we should let the world see us. Well, not the world, but everybody who watches on here watch some of our conversations. And what we want to talk about today is a conversation that you had brought up about your childhood and about the reception you saw as growing up.
And the conversation we was having was like during this time of the pandemic and everything, and everybody just getting a different perspective about who they are, or getting past getting their healing, and getting a different perspective on what life was at once upon a time to what is going to be now moving in the future. And I think there's so many people now that I think got that perspective of, if you're not learning anything, if you haven't changed anything during this pandemic, or when we had this time to like sit for ourselves, then you wasted your time. So with everything that's going on, it just kind of gave me a lot of perspective about family. And I've been getting closer to family. I've been like, really having those tough conversations with myself, and understanding and having tough conversations with people that I need to have to kind of get past some of the things that I have been dealing with, and certain things that I needed to let go. And so me and you was having a conversation, and it was just one of those things to where I was kind of like, now where I'm at in life and the space that I'm in, it was almost having me question myself, like, why would I get angry? Why was I getting angry with you or with my parents and everybody, and almost entitled to point the finger and be like it's everybody else's fault, but myself.
Kind of explain about that anger. I'm a mother of six. Well, y'all grown now. A mother of 6 children.
Yeah.
And sometimes the child doesn't see from our perspective of a mother.
Right.
I'm mothering 6 kids at age 30.
Right.
And in your sight, you're looking at like I'm the only child type thing.
Yeah, you're kind of entitled, and you
yeah.
I think a lot of people deal with that. A lot of people like go through life, and even if for you, you had, for you and Posh, I had 6 kids, and I was the oldest out of 6. And I think a lot of people deal with that thing to where you kind of be blaming your parents for not doing the thing that you think they should do, but you're not looking behind the curtain and what they were dealing with, and what they had to deal with.
Yeah.
And so now, understanding where I'm at in life, and just understanding, and then having friends that have kids and everything, there's people that's barely making it with like 2 or 3, even 1 kid.
Yeah.
And not saying, everybody got their own situations and their own thing, and not passing judgment, but it really gave me a perspective to really understand how much I appreciate now what y'all did as far as raising us as 6 kids and having all that in the house, different personalities. Different things. And so for me, I used to always, I just had this hidden anger that I don't even think it was towards y'all. It was just the circumstances that I've been through and everything, and kind of being like...
Is it more like what we did or didn't do? What was it?
I think it was deeper than that. It was just a whole lot of... Because we've been through a lot. We went through a lot. Well, I could say for myself in particular, like my childhood, it was a lot of things that went on, divorce, abuse. There was a lot of stuff that kind of channels certain things and certain angers, and then that's what kind of grows that entitlement. So even if things was going great, even if y'all would have had all the money in the world, it would have done all the things, there would have probably been something that would probably triggered, or probably, because I see kids that have everything. I see people that have everything in the world, they still be angry. Because I think it's all deals with just the internal happiness within yourself. What it is that you need to deal with within yourself. And a lot of times we go through things and we just kind of tuck it down, and then you just go through life. And those things that you tuck down, don't know that it's going to affect certain decisions and different things in your life. Where it could affect your family, it could affect your kids, it could affect a lot of things.
We were always bumping heads.
Always. No, because we were similar.
Yeah.
We were similar in so many ways. And for me, I can only speak for myself. I've always had this mind, and my personality sometimes can be overbearing because sometimes I would want people to think like how I think. Yeah. Have perspective. And I had to learn how to be patient with people and understand and be more, it's not patient like I'm just, but it'd be more, I would say, what's the word I'm trying to say? More like sympathetic or not.
Yeah. Kind of selfish in your own thinking.
Have some type of empathy for other people, I would say that, and be more considerate.
Yeah.
And I think selfishly we'll feel like we are, things are supposed to be the way we think in our minds and how we feel and everything like that, and we ignore the fact that it took us a process to get to where we were at. Yeah. I mean, it took the certain experiences that I decided to take and decisions that I decided to take to get me to that place where I'm at. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that may not have those resources or certain things, and you got to be patient with them and understand where they at. Yeah. And be more compassionate. That's the thing I think I was going to be more compassionate and be more just, I'm there no matter what. Yeah. Just, this is what it is. And so there was a lot of things. For me and you, we bumped heads a lot of times on a lot of perspective because you are, you strong, you opinionated, and you have your points, and you have your stance in what you do, and then I have my stance and how I am, and it's like two different experiences coming together to try to come together and come to some type of solution and whatever, and sometimes that can be challenging. Yeah. Because it's like, I see it like this, you see it like that. And then you my mother and I'm the son, so it's just kind of that, just that kind of thing. Yeah. And the buttons to push, and then I know the buttons to push on you. So
So what made you, I know that during the pandemic, the things that people had to do, they had to go in and kind of shut down, and some people lost their jobs. And so in the process of you coming to yourself and thinking about this, what was your process?
My process?
What made you start thinking about?
Man, it was a long process. I mean, I think this was just, I think the pandemic was just kind of another part of it. I think it was just, and the part, the isolation was the thing that really just had you, I think that was the last part of it, just being isolated and really focused on being alone. Yeah. And then a lot of times, and I don't think people put a lot of emphasis on being alone sometimes would be the best thing for you, because you really analyzing and really looking in within yourself. Yeah. But the process has been going on. It's been a long, like I said, everybody's process is different, but life just happens and different things start happening, and you be like, yo, this is the chapter, this is the part where my parents was at, and this is the part where they would, or this is what they were telling me and to look for, and then and so as you hit these little bumps in the road and as you get certain things, it's just a lot of fine tuning and adjustment that you got to do. And for me, I'm a deep thinker, so I'm always analyzing and kind of just,
you got that honest,
like, wow, who am I to be this type of person, and what it is and this. So it was a long process. So the pandemic just kind of sealed it. Yeah. With being comfortable with being alone and just analyzing and
by yourself, so you can really think and sort out things. Could you imagine yourself having 6 children?
Cannot, no.
You could not.
No.
So your perception was, Mom and she did this, Mom and she did that, and when you thought about it, you said something about how dare you to put that burden on us as far as what we should have done for you. Right.
Yeah. Being. Man, and then another thing is like, yo, when you go through life and then you surround yourself with people and then you have friends and you have things and you do things for people and then you see how people, their entitlement and how they do with you, those lessons make you resort back to yourself and be like, okay, how they're acting, is that how I be acting? That's what I be doing?
Yeah.
And so now I just be like, how dare I? Because now I couldn't imagine myself having 6 kids and having a whole family and then doing the things that y'all did. That the different things and the different decisions that y'all did and adjustments and the pivoting that y'all did, and then having all those personalities in one house and still having a functioning household and not missing a meal and not, you know, going through the hardship as everybody else, as far as there was always, we didn't have no lack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now, you know, taking into consideration and now looking at my life now, I'm like, how dare I get mad at y'all for what it is or my life or whatever. My thing, man, I used to be like, yo, thinking about basketball. I was thinking about all this stuff and why I didn't do this, why I do that. I was saying, since there were things that I can say that were, you know, was reasonable or whatever, but still in all of that, the action in which how I can't blame nobody, you know what I mean? I can't blame nobody for this, I can't blame nobody for that, because y'all only do what y'all can have. Y'all only did what y'all could do at the time and whatever it is. And there's a mental capacity on that too. It's like, yo, mentally, and the religious part of it and all the other stuff.
We can get into that part.
The religious part and all the other things that tag on to it. And even, you know, what they say in the passage where Jesus was like, yo, I can't, it was like, God forgive them, for they do not know what they do. You know what I'm saying? And that's a real statement to say, because that is us all the time. We walking in blindness on so many levels, but until you go through and you actually face that adversity and get tested and you pass that test, then that's when the blinders you know, there's so many blinders that we have on our eyes. And so each level, one blinder comes off, and then you're like, wow, this been here this whole time, and I never I never saw this. Because now your level and capacity of, you know, seeing, because you have changed and you have made the adjustments in your life to now get to a place to where you're able to accept. And I think that's where blessings and opportunities and everything are always happening all the time, but you're missing it because you haven't match that opportunity to even see it. Because you got to be, it's an educational thing too. So understanding all of that and that process and everything now, and doing the work within myself, and that's what gives you the compassion on everybody else, because now I've done the work and I've seen it. And I went into it, I went into myself. Now it gives me to understand other people and be more compassionate about other people, no matter what level they on. And it's just like, okay, now I can't judge. And if I judge, I'm cursing myself. Because if I judge you, that means what I worked for and got the blinder off, I'm putting the blinders back on when I'm judging somebody else. Because now I'm cursing it. I'm cursing myself. So I can't curse myself. I got to be like more compassionate and be there and just be like, yo, hey, I understand. I relate. Now, this is what I done. I can't say this is the answer for you, because everybody's different, but this is what I did to help me in the same situation that you was in. So with all of that, that's what, you know, now I'm just kind of like, why would I even, now when I look back to that person that I used to be, it's just kind of like, yo,
what would you say to that person? What would you, if you was to see that person, what would you say to that person? So there's somebody else like you who did that and went through that and still in it, actually.
Right now.
So
I would say work on yourself. Like, yo, instead of blaming, instead of looking at what everybody didn't do for you, you take control of yourself and you do the things for yourself. I think a lot of times we try to find the blame because of the lack that we have, or we seem that we have. It's a defensive mechanism. It's something defensive. It's very like, I'm gonna get mad at somebody else because I can't do the thing for myself. I get mad. I would get mad at you for not doing something that I can't do for myself. And that is, that just thinking about that, that's absurd. So you gotta like really understand where you lie as far as emotionally And that was my thing. I'm emotional in a lot of sense, where a lot of these things that God has put in us are tools. But you can overly use something or do too much of something, and then it becomes perverted, or it becomes something that will be at your detriment if you don't know how to control it or know how to use it. So the emotional quality is my creative space, and me being a creative, and I see the world the way I see it, and the textures and the different things that I do. But because of that, I have to control that, because now if certain things happen in my life, I will feel certain that I'm being attacked, or being this and being that, and your mind can. And that's another thing. You got to control your thoughts, because your mind can tell you anything, and if you let it fester and you let it build up, then it creates this whole thing. So now I'm just learning how to plant the right seeds. I'm learning how to do the right and have the right habits to make the right decisions, and to look at the world in the right perspective. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect, because we all gonna have circumstances that's still gonna pull the trigger. That's still gonna be a trigger. It's still going to add, but what you got to do more and more of is being more aware of those times and those triggers, and then have a plan to offset those triggers to get right back into the game and be straight. If you need to have those tough conversations, you need to do whatever. Have those conversations. If you need to have this or do whatever, you need adjustments to yourself, do it. And a lot of times we moving in fear, and I think that's where fear is, where we all know is where negative energy, and some people say the devil's at.
Growing up, you all were, we were in the church. The church can jack you up sometimes, what you're thinking. Because, I'm in fashion and all stuff like that. And I grew up in the church where my mom and dad were pastors. And in the fashion world, they told me everything was a sin. And so when I had kids, I was trying to, even though I was against what church was thinking, but it caused me to stop what I love, because they planted inside of me that I couldn't do things. Okay, and I tried not to put that on you all. The church can really, the church taught you how to be saved, and they taught you how to be religious, and they taught you your do's and don'ts, but they never taught you how to live life.
Facts.
And so me trying to have children, trying to do this church thing, and I remember my first time being aware of that is when you said you wanted to be a DJ. And I said that I didn't want you to feel like I felt, that I gave my whole life up for the church, and I didn't have to. If somebody would have told me that God did not give me a talent just to say it's a sin. And so when you came and told me you had a DJ, I was like, oh my God, here we go again. What am I supposed to do? Because my parents didn't handle mine right. Which made me give up a whole 30 years of being a fashion model, a whole 30 years of trying to pursue my career. So I had to pray and ask God, how do I deal with someone that most church people will say is wrong to do? So I don't think I did it totally right. I don't think it's a blueprint. It's trying to understand you can be saved and yet still have your talents. So I think in the midst of it all, I think we kind of didn't do it totally right, but at the same time trying to figure it all out.
That's the thing. That's life. Like, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make certain things in the road, and then there's gonna be certain things that are offsets. That there's gonna be a point where that light bulb comes on, and you're like, wow, I never knew. That's the educational part. But all of that. And I tell you this, and I keep continuing saying this, all the decisions that I made creatively and all the things came from all the lessons that you have taught and told me what to do, as far as not accepting being in my completely utterly myself, to certain things that when I was young, people tease you, that means they want to be like you, these things and everything, and then that created this thing. And that was kind of, even in religion and everything, that was the confusion part, because you was teaching a certain philosophy that I don't think you was that you didn't understand you was teaching, that was cultivating who I was as a man and as a person. And then there was religion that was saying otherwise, and then it always conflicted with me and always made me be like, it just didn't sit well with me, because I was practicing the things that was being told to me, and I was seeing the results. And then there was things that was being told to me in a religious perspective, and I wasn't seeing the result. And so it was like that confusion. It was like, I don't get it. And then I had to go find my own. I had to go find my own way, and had to go figure out what it meant for me. And I think a lot of people, I think in life and everything, from religion, job, occupation, everything in life, I think we always most people want someone to tell them what all the information, wanting to give it to them on a silver platter. When the information that we have, we all different, and we all our own people. We have to figure it out for ourselves. So in your journey, when you was figuring it out and you was doing it, to think about it, you had kids too that was right there and they was looking up, and I'm still trying to figure it out. And everybody, but at the same time, it has watching Pops and everything. It changed. That thing has grew, and whatever the time that you feel like it was lost, it's been passed on into us.
Yeah, that's the good thing that I think kept me going, because religion told me I couldn't be this glamorous person, because that's pride or that's Jezebel or whatever. At the same time, I knew I was called to something bigger. But because I did miss out on it, I feel I did. And then to see my kids inherit and watch them do what I didn't do. If I can go back, I would tell the church, listen, y'all, you can't squash folks' talent because you feel like everything's a sin. God gave us all talents and give. There's people that love to dance. There's people, creatives are really lost in the church.
They are.
It's pretty much only gift you see in church is miming. I'm just really serious.
That was back in the day.
Back in the day, all you saw in church was miming, and still some of the religious churches still do that. Anything outside of miming, they really can't do, And it was hard for me to because I had creative kids, but all my kids are creative. And you got creative kids, and I was not gonna do y'all like that. Whatever it took, that's why I changed doctrines, got out of Church of God in Christ, and got out of different religions, because I didn't want to stop y'all's growth in what y'all supposed to be doing. It was very hard to see. There was days you cried. Remember, you was trying to give up DJing because you kept seeing the church saying you couldn't do it, and I watched you suffer like that. And it was hard because it brought back memories to me. The church don't ever teach us how to live life. They don't teach us how to manage our money. They don't teach us how to be innovative. They don't. We do know how to the religious part, dance and shout in church, speak in tongues, fall out, cry. We knew that stuff. But when it come to managing money and managing life, they didn't teach us. We was on our own after that. And so I didn't want you all to be like that. So there was like raising y'all at the same time. I'm trying to figure this. I know God loves us and gave all of us gifts and talent, but a lot of people will go to the world first because the world are accepting them in. I think that the church is more open now than it was when you all was growing up, but it was so much of ridicule, so much of things that they kept saying we couldn't do.
Absolutely.
And so now I'm starting to pick up things. Now that I see my kids flourishing, I'm kind of following you all now, and trying to say, okay, y'all figure this out, but you're still saved. You all figure this out, and you're still prospering in the gift God called you to.
Yes, ma'am.
So how does it feel? Your mom trying to come back out and trying to do something?
Well, I don't look at you trying to come back out. I've always seen you that person. Every time I talk to you, I say, yo, I've always known you'll go back into sewing. I knew he was going to go back into modeling. A lot of the modeling ideas that I wanted to do was because of the things that you put it in me and different things. I never seen a difference because the thing about it, even in the house, everything, you've always been creative. Like, even how you did the whole house and everything, you always. So for me, I just see this as just another, the evolution of what you've already been doing our whole life. And even how you talk, the creative way, how you explain us and keep it 100 to us. Since we was little, like I was a little kid, and you was giving me real adult talk, which kept it 100. Which you didn't baby feed or give us the little thing. You gave us the real deal. You told us the truth about yourself. You told us the real stories, and that in return has encouraged and has manifested through us to be who we are today, and even better. And it's not even a thing. I'm inspired like by watching what you do. Just as you inspired by it's that's the thing. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I'm like, yo, the energy, we have to protect our energy, because you got to be careful when trying to give everybody so much advice and trying to tell everybody. You want to be around people that are moving like you moving, or if not further, because that energy of just giving information and just talking.
Oh, that thing going on.
Oh, it shut down.
Let me see if I can stop it.
Oh, you gotta hit that thing.
Yeah, hit that. Yeah. Sorry about that.
So just the information and all of that, you could just give that information out, and if it don't apply to anything and they don't use it, whatever, that's just wasted information. And guess what? I've just relinquished what I had deposited in me, and you just wasted it. And now when I need that, and when I need that for myself, I can't. I don't got it. I don't got it for myself. But when you're around people, so that's what I'm saying. You encouraged because you have always been moving. You've been always doing that. And now that it's a cycle like that, I'm inspired. Mom, what you doing? Oh, Mom, well, I got this going on, and then you got this going on, and you always it's an inspiration. It's a back and forth type of thing. Which everybody now is being pushed and being moving forward to go to these other levels. If I got some information, I share the information. You get some information, like you was just telling me about a couple of books to read and everything, and then when you was just summarizing the book, I was like, I got to get that book because I need to understand this for my businesses.
Information. You read the Bible. You don't just read you read the Bible.
Facts.
But then you got to read. There's a book I'm reading about the mind, the scriptures, and it's a book I'm reading on the mind spiritually. But then if you understand the mind naturally, you understand the spiritual part of the mind.
Right.
You know, so we don't only just read the Bible. We read things. We watch documentaries. Something's going to help us, or something's going to get us to where we need to go. You know, you gotta walk by faith. Faith without works is dead. We want to do scripture. Faith without work, you gotta work it. It's just not going. A lot of us, we were taught growing up, and it may not we wasn't taught that way, but we were taught just pray, and stuff's gonna come into our lap.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that's what we thought. You know,
in churches,
but that's what they teach. And then faith without works is dead. You got to get out there and work the system and work it.
But people don't. I don't know.
Work it.
People on this. That was one of the confusing things because people they talk on faith, but really ain't doing faith.
Yeah.
And I know the same scripture as far as when you talk Bible and you talk about the mustard seed and how small that mustard seed is, and just how small it is, and when you understand that, that means there is a lot of people that saying they're moving on faith, they're not moving in faith, because the moving faith, you gotta not know, you don't have no idea what's behind that door. But you open that door and just saying, okay, I see the cliff, and just jump. That's faith. It's not. It's not, I gotta have a plan, or I gotta make sure that everything is. That's not faith. You've designed a plan, so you have a backup plan if something go wrong and everything. No, having faith is not having nothing at all, and just having blind faith, understanding that it's going to happen, and this is what's going to happen. Jump and watch it happen. Now the thing about too, when jumping, or people be afraid of, they jump and having to go through that adversity and then go through the hardships that come with it. And I think we so afraid of that. And I think that's why prayer and the same simple, things that we said, you just gotta pray, you just gotta do this and this and this. Prayer is important, but you have to move.
Pray and get up and do something. Because when you pray, He's going to show you the way.
He's going to show you the way, and He's going to do it. And He's done that for me many times, and I've never lacked. Every time I jump and I do something, He is showing up every time.
Now listen, you went all the way to let's explain about the California thing.
No,
You went, man, I'll give you your props for that one. You went all the way to California. You drove actually all the way to California by yourself. Didn't know what you was gonna do. You just took the leap of faith and said, if I don't do it, I'm gonna feel like I missed out on something.
Right.
What was that like?
I just decided to do it and do it. I just in my mind,
no fear, just jump.
Oh, of course you're gonna have.
Yeah.
You're gonna have. To me, I think you're supposed to have that uncertainty.
Yeah.
I don't like to say fear, but uncertainty. You're supposed to have that because that's a survival thing that you have, and you're nervous. You don't, because not knowing what's on the other side of that door, it's uncertainty.
I admired you for that.
You don't know.
I was like, that was so.
But
I could never do. I mean, just to go there. But how when you got there, what did you do? You just
I went and I slept on couches and did what I had to do. For me, it isn't really a big deal, and that's why it probably to other people, but it's not a big deal with me sometimes because I'm a type of person. I do whatever it takes to do whatever I gotta do.
To make it happen.
To make it happen,
yeah.
I will surrender my comfort, my comfortability. I will surrender all these things and do all of that to make it happen. And there's a lot of people that be concerned about people that's like that because they can't understand why would you do that? Or why would you sleep in your car?
You actually didn't have did you have a car then?
No, I didn't have a car. I rode bus and train. I just rode. I just walked everywhere. Went on the bus. Went on the train, and it made it happen. I mean, there wasn't no excuse. But that was the best thing because now I know doing that. Now I know the insides is out. Like California, I know the insides are out of all these places. I stayed in. I don't even remember. I was in San Francisco too for a while.
Yeah,
I was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And so I was in San Francisco for a while. No car or anything, but Wayne did that. But those, I always say, man, doing all that stuff, it just make interesting stories for my kids.
But you borrowed a car. You didn't have your own car. You borrowed a car
to
go to California and back and did all that stuff like that.
Well, I had a rental
car,
to drive.
Yeah.
I flew out there and then I drove back in a rental to go grab the rest of my stuff and then drove back in the rental.
Wow.
And when I did that, so it's
That's why I told you. I said, Josh, when you said that's mom that's going on a plane somewhere, I said, I'll be with you because if you can do that part by yourself, I know you can do anything.
See, but that's the thing. And even if we go, there's going to be uncertainty because there ain't going to be no plan.
You know me. I love uncertainty. You know me.
I love uncertainty and just let whatever happens and just see what happens. And when you do that, it's way more fun.
Now your dad might be saying, okay, what's the first place? Square one. Come on, we're going to get a pad and pencil and decide what we going to do. I like not knowing what we want to do.
Me too.
We went on a trip to Florida and we drove there. It took us 2 weeks and we just every 4 hours, just whatever town we were at, that's where we was in our RV. We slept at Walmart. I thought that as one of the most exciting trips in the world.
But people be concerned. They be like, "Oh my gosh, don't do that, don't do this,
do this."
I'm like, "Yo, I like it. I like the adventure. I like to do whatever I gotta do." If you get outside of America and you go travel outside the country and everything, like there's so much uncertainties because you're gonna have to fend for yourself. You gotta understand, especially if you move somewhere in another country and you live there. And I don't know, I think people think there's a lot of people. I mean, of course, everything ain't for everybody. It takes a certain type of person. I mean, whatever point in your life where you at and you feel like you gotta do what you gotta do.
Just accept people for who they are.
Accept
a lot of people
that's exactly.
See us and what we're doing. I know we strange to people, but this is what we want to do.
That's what you want to do.
And a lot of people thinking, well, that's not normal. But you know what? You gotta get to the point where you don't care what nobody think. You gotta do what makes you happy, and not copying anybody else.
Like times where I didn't want a car payment. I didn't want a car. I wanted to Uber. I just Ubered everywhere I went for like a whole couple of years. That's what I wanted to do. I mean, there's certain situations where there's been situations where I slept in my car and did things or whatever, just went to a different place and just slept in my car or whatever. that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to do and experience that. I felt fulfilled. I felt good. I feel like, yo, because the thing about it, I did what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I took control of what I wanted to do. I can't, for me and my personality, who I am, I just can't. I can't work a 9 to 5. I can't do anything that keeps me in a box. That's where it's hard for me to be. And so when we talk about religion, it's hard for me to be in church a lot of times or be in that capacity because sometimes it's I don't want to be put in no box. I want to be free in my thoughts. And of course we have to have you got to have a stance to where you got to have you
to come back to when you're traveling somebody,
or just stand. You got to know. You got to have. You got to be taught principle. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You got to have your principles.
Yeah.
You got to understand the principles and then understand it. Some principles you're not going to understand until you experience certain things in life.
Yeah.
Because some people can be passing principles to you and don't understand the full totality of what it really means.
Yeah.
There's so many things that happen. I went and then when I experienced life and I'm like, yo, well, I understand what they was trying to say. This is really what it means.
Yeah.
And that's why
because you experience.
They're not accomplishing what they are accomplishing.
Some people preach and not living what they preach because they have
100%.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the faith thing. If you talk about faith, well, I did that. I went and had and stepped out and didn't have nothing, did whatever I did. Yeah. And my perspective was different compared to somebody just preaching it and saying have faith.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, when you do it.
Yeah.
And then when you read the word or you read the Bible or whatever, everybody in the Bible had a point in their life to where they had to make a decision to either be obedient or not. And it would be like, how did Joshua walk?
Yeah.
And then God, told him to, go around that wall and do all of that. That was a blind faith moment.
Yeah.
You never know. There was uncertainty. It was like, yo, I'm doing this. People gonna think I'm crazy. Like, what is this? Or David, everybody had those points to where they had to move out on faith and believe that, this is what I was here to do.
Yeah.
So I have to trust that.
Yeah.
And lean on that.
Yeah.
And once I do that, then God do the rest.
Yeah.
And that's what the thing, I think that's what the part where a lot of people miss.
When you get to a point, you have nothing to prove. I have nothing to prove.
I have nothing, no.
Because the Joneses is doing that, I feel I don't have to do it. It was somebody said, and they may be watching right now, but somebody told me that, man, Pastor them, they probably millionaires, nobody know it. Because it's not about flaunting what you have. If I don't want a big house, I don't want a big house.
Nope.
If I want to live in a small little section, just because people live in small places don't mean they don't have money.
I know. I seen that firsthand.
You see what I'm saying? But a lot of people want to show
it.
I got a house, I got this car, God blessing me.
There's so many memes, but there's so many memes that show that. Like the most wealthiest people they wear like Walmart Wrangler jeans, the most wealthiest in the world that are in Forbes and all that stuff. Do not wear the things with people that are trying to show that they're rich. They're not riding in Lambos. Warren Buffett is just riding in a regular car and got the same house that he's been having for like over 50
What's that
years.
other white lady? She stayed in her mom's house still. I can't think of her name. Oh my God, I think I mentioned it the other day. And she's multi-billionaire and she stayed in her mama's house that she grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Because it's at the end of the day, everybody's life is their life. We don't have nothing to prove. Nobody doesn't have nothing to prove.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you lose a lot of time. You lose yourself in worrying about what people think. And I had a real problem with that in certain capacities. Mm-hmm. Certain capacities, no. But certain places in my life, yes. Yeah. And I had to learn. I'm like, yo, I cannot care. And I got to do one because I was just driving today and I was thinking about that. The more you care about what everybody else think, I think the higher level that you care or what everybody else think, the higher level of depression that you're going to put yourself into and unhappiness. Yeah. And the more deeper you get into that, caring what everybody think, the more unhappy you're going to become. Yeah. So I'd rather just walk around and make everybody happy and then be walking around sick. Yeah. And add sickness to my body and add all of this stuff and aging quick and all of this stuff. Yeah. having to smoke cigarettes to maintain and do all this.
Yeah.
I mean, that smoking cigarettes, you maintain and trying to maintain and stay in that pleasing zone.
Yeah.
Or should I take control of my life and be happy? Go through the adversity, because there's going to be adversity no matter where it is, what you're going to do. But I'd rather go through the adversity doing what I want to do than doing what someone else tells me.
Because everybody's not going to understand you.
Nah, not at all.
I already know that people understand us. Why? I already know that. This was good.
Yeah.
So that some of your, y'all growing up, we didn't have a lot, but we made it look like we had a lot.
No, absolutely. No, that's why I told you the creative. You've always been creative like that. That's what inspires. That's what inspires me.
He gonna keep calling me back. I'm about to text
you might as well, man. Just answer the phone. I mean, just.
Okay, he called back. I'm gonna answer.
Okay.
I'm like, what is she doing? She gonna
Pops gonna pull up on you.
Pull up on it. Like,
straight
wait,
up.
what's going on? You're not answering your phone.
But yeah, man. But yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, but you riding in there.
I think you was talking about. I don't know what we were talking about. That
I was going down. I was going down some road. Now I don't even know where I went. But yeah, do not care about what people think. And I said you was inspiring us because you was creatively you was using what you had.
Yeah.
And me, I've took that so much. I took that thing that you do. I took it and ran with it so much that it's hard for me to buy new things because I'm so used to do that. I do that a lot.
I don't like.
I would keep a laptop for like 20 years.
I like nice things. I do, but material. I think if I'm going to pay money for something, so I'm going to educate my mind and my brain. Because I can live in this big old. I love it. We can ready to build us a 5,000 square foot home. We can ready to do that.
Right.
But he's building himself, so it's still gonna cost a lot of money. But I love educating my brain more better and being creative more than just showing people stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not materialistic like that, and so I don't have to prove that God's blessing me by buying something and making it look like God got it for me.
Right.
You know, I taught you all of that.
Yeah.
To not think about nobody else.
I think this is too extreme now. I need to be buying stuff.
I know. I
didn't buy new stuff.
Just recently, he had to make me buy. I love clothes. I do. I love nice things.
Me too.
I remember I told you we supposed to be undercover millionaires.
Yeah.
I want my maid to go buy my stuff. It's just going. If people ask me to go shopping with them, it'll be pretty much okay. Why are we going shopping? What's the purpose of it? Because every single moment I need to try to use every opportunity I can, and to me, doing things that's not relevant, or it has to be a purpose for me doing things.
Right.
Because I feel I'm wasting time. I'm not wanting people let's go shopping with the women. Let's go do something. Okay, why are we going? Is it going to educate?
Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes you gotta. For me, I can't speak on you. I'm just saying sometimes because I be doing that too. I do the same. That's why we similar on so many ways.
Yeah.
But I had to learn to kind of not take myself too serious all the time and just relax and just because sometimes in those moments where you just kind of let go and be like, okay, I'm gonna go with the flow. Not saying all the time, but sometimes just go with the flow. And then that's another thing to the faith part that I don't think a lot of people understand is sometimes in the points where you would least expect it. There's a blessing that will come or something will come in that time. Yeah. I go and do something. Sometimes everything can't be calculated because it's a controlling thing too. But in them times where you just kind of, because I was just having a conversation with my hairstylist. We were talking about that. There's some moments where you could be so productive and you could be so caught up in doing what you're doing. And sometimes it's vitally important that you just don't do nothing at all and just relax. That's just as important for you too.
That is hard.
I know, for me.
Because I'll be on Miami Beach okay, come on, let's do a meeting real quick.
I had to learn it, but this pandemic, it taught that. I think a
lot
of people to where they were like, oh, I'm more creative now because I'm just stopped and didn't do anything. And because sometimes when you're going and going and going, you just riding on fumes. Yeah. You need sometimes to stop to recharge and just smell the roses. Go chill with your kids. Go do some things that, and get your mind completely off of it.
Yeah.
And then come back and see what happened. And then you come back to it, and then it's just like, oh, I was missing all of this. All I was doing, I was just doing things because you could get caught up in that routine. Yeah. And you can make things become a job when you saying it's not a job. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what you just explained. That's the lesson. That's something I'm working on still to this day. Just trying to like, okay.
It is very hard for me because I got to be reading a book or something. I got to be doing something. I guess it keeps my mind from wandering from, people. I just can't see myself never not reading a book. Right. Or never not educating myself. Because we on the beach on vacation. I might like on my phone trying to do something because it makes me happy. Yeah. Sometimes people's career is what relaxes them.
So do you ever? So let's explore that. But do you ever do this? I'm the same way, but I analyze everything like that. So if I'm on the beach and I'm like chilling, I'm at the ocean and everything. Now my focus is like, what am I gonna get out of this? Mm-hmm. Like, what is this? What is this sonically doing to me? What am I learning about myself in this type of environment? Yeah. How? I'm still productive, but I'm taking my mind off of the business stuff. Now I'm doing more of self-awareness and looking around and just admiring like the where I'm at and looking at the meaning, because I try to find a meaning in everything. Mm-hmm. Some people say, "Yo, man, you think too deep, or you do this and this." No, it's just I analyze things because there's things happening.
I got a FedEx.
Oh, you need to go?
Y'all, are y'all enjoying it? Joe, hey Joe, how you doing, Joe? He's going to get a FedEx. Joe, you can say something if you want to. I can read your comments a lot. If y'all enjoy, I think it's only one person on. I think a lot of people will probably watch this later on, and I hope you all enjoy it. If you want to comment on. Hey Joe, I'm going to comment on anything later that we're talking about, please. And if you didn't watch it, please, if you're coming in late, please watch the rewind, because this is a really good conversation that we're talking about. Ooh, I got a FedEx today. Is it my name on it? It's happening again, that thing.
It's for Sable.
Okay.
Super chill.
The thing is happening again. What's going on?
Amber Alert.
An Amber Alert thing is happening. I guess it's on everybody's phone. That's Joe on there.
Oh, yeah, I see him. Man, ain't nobody on mine.
Let's keep it going till we get ready to end it. Because somebody might watch the rerun of it. I just got to tell everybody, if you watch the rerun, just please watch the whole thing, because it can be inspiring.
I got to watch my brand. They want to see everybody get on my thing and thinking I'm DJing right now or something like that. No.
Well, he not DJing today. He talking to his mama. Well, we getting ready to end. I enjoyed this, Josh.
No, it's dope.
Excited. We're going to do some more of these.
I ain't get more comfortable with this because really, I'm really more laid back than this and not as,
That's you good. You know how to talk.
I'm trying to.
It's easy interviewing you because you ain't got to like, okay, what's next thing going to say because they fit to stop.
Nah, yeah, that's talk. The thing. Yeah. I'm a talker.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed it. For those who's going to watch the rerun, please share this with other people and let them know that we're getting ready to do some more talk shows and things. And it's going to be really interesting because I think people need to learn lessons and learn from other people. What's he putting on there?
Show, if you don't get your...
Well, look out for our next show and the next interview, because we're going to do some more conversations and talk about life. I mean, I think people need to understand some things. And please share and let people know that we're on, and we're going to have specific times and dates when we're going to do some more. All right? Love everybody. See y'all later. Bye-bye.